Hello, my friends. This is Mike, and today is December 30th, 2020, and welcome to the show. This is going to be a short one, but it's going to be a good one. I'm going to tell you, it's about something I got in the mail today, and it's weird. It came from, I think I know who it came from. It came from someone who I've done some work with before. Uh, well, you're just going to hear it. It's just a strange story. It's four levels of weirdness. Four levels of weirdness. But uh, before that, let me go and be a little bit gracious. I get a lot of stuff in the mail from people, and I'm grateful for it. It's a lot of fun. This right here. These were some stones sent to me from New Mexico. Thank you, Zach and Krista and Luna. This hat right here, this came from Albert. Thank you very much, Albert. He did this himself, this stitching. Very impressive. Albert's been very generous to me, sent me all sorts of cool stuff over the years. Herkimer Diamonds, gave me a really good book, unusual book about John Dee. Grateful for that. Paul sent me all of these money bags, quite literally, old bank bags. These things are really sturdy. I don't know if I showed you guys this, but I turned it into these really cool drawstring bags. This was a Federal Reserve bag, and so I got this. So it's I love it when I get this sort of stuff. It's very exciting for me. It's a lot of fun. But today takes the cake. So let's just jump in. So this is what came in the mail for me today, and I got a picture of it right here. And so you could see right here, this came today's date, or I guess it was mailed yesterday. It came today, and it was addressed from the Bastion Perrot, I don't know how to pronounce that, of Calw, 650 East South Temple, Salt Lake City, Utah. The little stamp did not match up to this exactly. It was to a little town outside of Utah, or Salt Lake City, which is, well, I think I know who this came from, but that's not, if you're watching, thank you, and you'll understand why, but this is a strange thing. Are you ready, my friends? So let's go delve into this a little bit deeper for a moment. The address, so we'll start right there. So the address is 650 East South Temple. This is the Salt Lake City Masonic Temple. Here's a picture of it. Salt Lake Masonic Temple, view from across South Temple Street. I get a lot of feedback from Salt Lake City, particularly when I was talking a lot about the Susquehanna River, due to its connection of Joseph Smith, the founder of the Church of Latter-day Saints or Mormons. And there's a lot of, that's a very interesting topic. I don't want to get into it right now, but, I have a personal interest and connection to this Salt Lake City. And, we could see from this, it's 650 East South Temple, and that is the address of the Salt Lake City Masonic Temple. And before we go into the contents, let's go look at the name. The name here is the Bastion Perrot of Calw, and that comes from a book called The Glass Bead Game, written by Hermann Hesse. 1943. It's the last full-length novel of the German author Hermann Hesse. Began in 1931 and was published in Switzerland in 1943 after being rejected for publication in Germany due to Hesse's anti-fascist views. A few years later, in 1946, Hesse won the Nobel Prize in Literature, honoring him in its award ceremony speech. The Swedish Academy said that this novel occupies a special position in Hesse's work. And so The glass bead game takes place at an unspecified date, centuries into the future. Hesse suggests that he imagined the book's narrator writing around the start of the 25th century. The setting is a fictional province in Central Europe called Castilia, which was reserved by political decision for the life of the mind. Technology and economic life were kept to a strict minimum. Castilla is home to an austere order of intellectuals with a twofold mission: to run boarding schools and to cultivate and play the glass bead game, whose exact nature, so the bead game, whose exact nature remains elusive, and whose devotees occupy a special school within Castilia known as Watzel. The rules of the game are only alluded to. They are so sophisticated that they are not easy to imagine. Playing the game well requires years of hard study of music, mathematics, and cultural history. The game is essentially an abstract synthesis of all arts and sciences. It proceeds by players making deep connections between seemingly unrelated topics, Sounds like what we do here, right, my friend? So, I mean, that's, I'm assuming that's where, the person who sent this envelope, they're alluding to that. And it is addressed from Bastion, Perrot of Calw, which is the glass bead game's inventor. The glass bead game is a kind of synthesis of human learning in which themes such as musical phrases or philosophical thought are stated. As the game progresses, association between the themes become deeper and more varied. Although the glass bead game is described lucidly, the rules and mechanics are not explained in detail. So at least what's being indicated by the guy who sent this is that whether he's referring to himself as that or not, I don't know, but there is a correlation between the inventor of this synchromysticism, if we want to call it that, and within Salt Lake City, Freemasonic circles. Freemasonic circles, and specifically, than the Church of Latter-day Saints. Now, where this starts getting really weird, I haven't even gotten into the contents of what's inside this, because, but where it gets weird is I've been getting ready for my next video, and I want to talk a lot about alternate reality games, game theory, and psyops. So games has been in my mind in the last couple days. So that's the first thing. So now let's go take out what's in here. I'm gonna pull this out. It's the first personal connection. So we open this up, and this is in here. If you can't read it, it says the ancient and accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry, and it is it's a folder. It looks like a certificate would come in here. I would imagine, I'm not a Mason. I would imagine if you once you go through one of the rituals to move up a level, you get a certificate, and my guess is it probably comes in this. This looks like it's from someone who at least has access to Masonic accoutrement. I don't know if he's a Mason or not, but the guy sent me this, and on the inside of it, can you see this? It's a poem. I'm going to read you the poem. The Susquehanna Gypsy. Step inside my gilded Vardo, there is a game to play, a caravan of precious cargo to aid you in your way. Remember the glass bead game. Bring forth your palms, son of the king, your province is in sight. Look down and see what you might be before you take your flight. Peer in your hand. Now remember this. I'm going to come back to this line in a moment. Peer in your hand. Peer in your hand, a vein of blue, a river ever bending. A river ever bending, okay? A herald from gods to you, a power is descending. A map of skin with bones to throw within your treasure chest, a beating heart that warms aglow will aid you in your test. Reach in your bag of gypsy tricks and play the piper's song to bring them to the river's front and from the path of harm. It is for you, should you decide, the chosen son of Juan, and that's spelled in my last name, the same way my last name, not spelled one, but Juan. But don't, so, I know that this was written, seemingly written about me, but don't expect the fun to last, for lasting's never long. I'll repeat that stanza. It is for you, should you decide, the chosen son of Juan, but don't expect the fun to last, for lasting's never long. So flip to fate or make your mind, both lead one to the path. 'Tis all a game to pass the time, a crescendo with a laugh. All right, we're just starting to get into the weirdness, my friends. So also include in the envelope, what was this? Let me take it out. It is 1 ounce of sterling silver. 1 troy ounce. I don't know if it's sterling silver. I don't know if sterling's the right word. Silver, I don't know that much about precious metals. So, you get that. That's, it's... the guy sends me some coins. It's kind of cool. There's a poem. It's the whole thing is like thought provoking and interesting, but that's not what this is about. This is what whatever this is one thing. And that's certainly, I guess, worthy of I shared this with some of my friends. I'm like, what do you think about this? But this is where it gets really friggin' strange. This is where it gets really weird. So I'm in the middle of 2 books right now. 2 books. So one book me and Jenny are reading, and the other book I'm reading to my boys. Okay? And so the first book is this book right here. This is what me and Jenny are reading. We just started reading it. It's called The Wheel of Time, The Eye of the World. And so, we read to each other. I'll be sewing, I'll work on a bag, and she'll read to me, or, she'll be making something, and I'll read to her. It's a nice alternative than television or stuff like that. So anyway, last night, I got this letter this morning. This is what we read, and we read at night. This is what we read before we went to bed. I'm gonna read to you the highlighted parts. I may have some small tasks to be done from time to time while I am in Edmund's Field, she said. Perhaps you would be willing to assist me. She laughed as their assents tumbled over one another. Here, she said, and Rand was surprised when she pressed a coin into his palm, closing his hand tightly around it with both of hers. So remember when I was like, hey, remember this line about the palm? So what was it? Peer in your hand, a vein of blue, a river ever bending. Okay, so I was just reading about the palm. She pressed something in the palm. And you could probably imagine what I'm going to say she pressed in the palm, I'll keep on reading. The place you call the 2 rivers. Now, we just picked this book. I didn't realize it was going to be about 2 rivers. In the last video I talked about the 2 rivers, the Conestoga and the Susquehanna. But I'll keep going. I think this part I've got highlighted. Let me pull this up so you can read along. I'll just go back to that. This place you call the 2 rivers, and this is from the woman who placed the coin. I already said it. Who placed the coin in the hands. Always interested me. Sometimes I study the stories of what happened here long ago, here and other places. Stories, Rand said. Now, for those of you who also watch my show with Emily, we talk about Rand Corporation, Ayn Rand, Rand McNally, Rand being a play on RNA and DNA a lot. So the fact that this character's name is Rand, another weirdness. Stories, Rand said. Whatever happened to the two rivers to interest someone like, what could have happened here? Because he's saying this place, this town, this very like sophisticated woman shows up in this like backwoods town, and she's very interested in the history here. And he's like, what's ever happened here? Nothing's ever happened here in these two rivers. The Susquehanna and the Conestoga. What's here? Why would anyone know about this? And what else would you call it beside the two rivers? Matt added. That's what it's always been called. As the wheel of time turns, Moraine said, half to herself and with a distant look in her eyes, places wear many names. Men wear many names, many faces. Different faces, but always the same man. Yet no one knows the great pattern the wheel weaves, or even the pattern of an age. We can only watch, study, and hope. If you haven't been paying attention, every single one of these videos is talking about the end of this age, okay? All right, so now we'll go back to this right here. I kind of let the cat out of the bag beforehand. But what did she put in the hand of this boy? Or three boys, actually. But a silver coin. A silver penny, Ewan burst out. She gave me a whole silver penny. Think what I can buy when the peddler comes. Rand opened his hand to look at the coin she had given him and almost dropped it in surprise. He did not recognize the fat silver coin with a raised image of a woman balancing a single flame on her upturned hand. But he had watched while Bran Alver weighed out the coin merchants brought from a dozen lands. So let's go back, my friends. Let's go look at this. We can see, here do we see? We see it's a female face. So it's a little bit different than the coin they talked, because they said that the woman on the coin, she outstretches her hands and there's a flame on it. On the back, we don't see a flame, unfortunately. But, so last night, reading this, go to bed, wake up, have this letter, strange letter, and then silver coin. So if it's not weird enough, I told you I'm reading 2 books. Here's book number 2. So this book I'm reading to my boys, and that's one of the ways which I can still stay in a nice connection with them. It's something which we can share. We probably started like reading books about 5 years ago. I started reading them. This is probably when they're 10, 11. Started reading the entire Nicholas Flamel series, the Alchemist series. I highly recommend that if you got children that age. It's a great book. There's 7 books in that. And from there we graduated to the Inheritance, I think it's called the Inheritance Trilogy. That was a lot of fun to read. And then this brought us to where we are now. They're now 13 and 15. And so we're reading Name of the Wind. This book is fantastic. This has been one of the most enjoyable things I've been able to share with my sons, is reading these books and talking about them, and it's just been really fantastic. So that being said, they came over today, and whenever they come, we read. And so this is today. This is literally 2 hours before me recording this video. And I've been thinking about making this video. I've been thinking about showing this, the whole thing from the letter to the poem to the gold to the silver coin to what I read last night. So I go and I pick up this book and I start reading my sons. All right. And so let me go and read. And so this is to make matters even interesting, it's we're on page 507 right here. So you drop out this 057. So this is what I read today, when the boys came over. Ari relaxed a bit and came a few steps closer to me. I brought you a feather with the spring wind in it, but since you are late, she looked at me gravely, you get a coin instead. Second coin. These aren't coin books. But this is when we're getting all the coin stuff. You get a coin instead. She held it out at arm's length, pinched between her thumb and forefinger. It'll keep you safe at night, as much as anything can, that is. It was shaped like a Turin penance. Let's go to the next page. Penance piece, but it gleamed silver in the moonlight. I'd never seen a coin like it before. So I alluded to a little bit earlier in this video that I was going to begin talking about, or I was preparing for like a bigger video about alternate reality games, psyops, and taking it like a bit further into the actual structure of reality and stories and these alternate reality games. And then this happens. So, you know, that's my New Year's my New Year's final present for you guys. Thanks a lot. It's been a fun year. Next year is going to be even stranger. So I'm looking forward to the next chapter. I'm looking forward to sharing it with you guys. Have a good New Year, and I'll see you on the other side.